I think Harvard's a disgrace. I think what they did was a disgrace. They're obviously anti-Semitic, and all of a sudden they're starting to behave. But when you see what they were saying, what they were doing, when you see the way they took care of events, when you watch that woman, that horrendous president that ruined the image of Harvard, maybe permanently, in Congress, in the halls of Congress, when you take a look at what happened there, it was horrific. And, you know, I've looked at a lot having to do with it. I'm not involved in it. It's being handled by lawyers. I read about it just like you did. But tax-exempt status, I mean, it's a privilege. It's really a privilege. And it's been abused by a lot more than Harvard, too, by a lot more than Harvard. I don't think they've made a final ruling. I don't believe they've made a final ruling, but it's something that these schools really have to be very, very careful with.
6,000 international students from 140 countries have had their SEVIS terminated attending Harvard University. The Trump administration today revoked and terminated SEVIS for Harvard University, which means those international students have no status right now in the United States, and technically they have to leave, and their commencement is next week. This all stems from a back and forth between Harvard University and the Trump administration, where the Trump administration wants to get information of non-immigrant F1 students that are attending Harvard that have had disciplinary actions against them in the last 5 years or been involved in other types of activities. Harvard's not releasing any of that information, so the Trump administration has now removed, as what they say, the privilege of being able to have an international student attend their school. They're saying, the Trump administration is saying that the F1 status is a privilege, it's not a right, and they are terminating it. But these students now, either they have to leave, or they have to change status, or they have to get themselves into another school. But graduation is next week, so this is all incredibly chaotic and very unexpected. The Trump administration has given Harvard 3 days to comply with turning in these records, and then they will reinstate the SEVIS, but we don't know what Harvard is going to do. We'll keep you guys posted.
Let's break this down, because not enough people are talking about what's really happening between Harvard and Trump. Trump's administration essentially blackmailed Harvard into changing its entire structure. This is through banning DEI programs, spying on international students for their beliefs, forcing merit-only based admissions, and making professors and students publicly prove their viewpoints are diverse enough. And when Harvard said no, Trump froze over $2 billion in federal funding without any due process. The government literally gave Harvard a 5-page ultimatum basically saying, bow to our demands or we starve your research and funding. Which, fun fact, is wildly illegal under the Administrative Procedure Act. Another fun fact, Harvard learned that their funding was frozen at the same time the public did, buried in the last sentence of a government press release. No warning, no negotiation, just pure political retaliation. But the best part is, Trump called Harvard a threat to democracy while simultaneously trying to dictate the classes they can teach, who they can hire, and what political views the students can have. That's not democracy, that's authoritarianism with a PR team. And let's not pretend this is about protecting the students. A huge part of this started because students dared to stand up for Palestine. Supporting Palestinian rights isn't hate, but trying to erase them absolutely is. They're weaponizing accusations to silence any voices they find inconvenient, especially ones calling for justice and liberation. If you think it stops at Harvard, it doesn't. Trump has already gone after Columbia, Johns Hopkins, and 40 other universities. It's not about protecting students, it's about crushing dissent and scaring institutions into obedience. This is McCarthyism 2.0, and it's happening fast. And see, that's why the Unfuck America tour is happening. We're pulling up to college campuses to say, you will not intimidate us, you will not silence us, and you damn sure won't erase the movements for justice, whether it be for Palestine, academic freedom, or justice overall. Harvard's fighting in court, we're fighting in the streets, on the ground, face to face. Stay loud, stay critical, stay dangerous to those who fear real democracy, and if you're with us, Support the tour by going to the link in my bio. Let's fucking go. They're scared because they know once people stand up together, they can't stop us.
The government is now forcing Harvard to kick out all of its foreign students, and they'll no longer allow them to admit foreign students. And this is, they're also threatening to do the same to any other university that defies Trump. And so this is just the latest escalation from Trump as the White House tries to force the private university into capitulating to him and letting him control it. Right now, Harvard has called Trump's actions illegal, and others have just called it authoritarianism. With this also coming as he keeps stripping research funding from Harvard, preventing them from trying to create cures for cancer and other deadly diseases. And this notably as 27% of students at Harvard are international students, and they actually pay more than American students. It's actually part of what's enabled Harvard to allow poor Americans to attend the university for free. Right, so it's going to strip those smart kids from poor families to lose their education, and it'll cause America, like Germany in the 1930s, to lose its best scientists, students, and no longer be considered the international destination for academic excellence. And so now Harvard's going to be suing Trump again over this as they enter into not just really a fight for their life, but also a fight for Americans to have the right to free thought and speech. And all of it, I mean, it's kind of wild because, y'all, America had the cheat codes. We took the smartest people from all over the world, taught them at our universities and connected them to capital, and then they formed businesses here and they joined our national research efforts to help us build the atomic bomb, go to the moon, or create the internet. But now we're seeing an administration that appears to want to make America dumber, poorer, and less safe. But for now, follow to stay in the loop.
Donald Trump just took away Harvard's ability to enroll international students, and here's why that matters. Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm a graduating senior from Harvard, and today we got the news that Donald Trump, Secretary of Homeland Security, was going to be revoking Harvard's ability to enroll and maintain their international student population. In simpler terms, if you are an international student at Harvard, you either have to transfer universities or lose your legal status in America. And for any international students that are applying or have already accepted their offer at Harvard, simply cannot enroll next school year. This is crazy. For a party and a president who claims to care a lot about freedom of speech and not having big government involved in every aspect of people's lives, this administration seems to do it a lot more than the last one. And I think it was pretty clear when Trump campaigned on all of these things that he was going to be leveraging the executive branch to take power in higher education. But we are 5 months into this administration, and it is very telling about the things they are already doing today. And I think it should worry a lot of people because it isn't just going to be Harvard. We've seen this before. This is the first step, and unfortunately, there likely will be many more.
This is vicious. It is illegal. It is unwise, and it is very damaging. Why does it make any sense at all to stop 6,000 enormously talented young people who want to come to the United States to study? If the Trump administration has an objection to something Harvard is doing with respect to foreign students, let it pursue the specifics of that objection through the processes of law. But simply throwing 6,000 students out and denying the many thousands of students abroad who have dreamed of coming to study at Harvard that opportunity because they're angry about a fight on other issues, that is not the way we do things in a democratic country like the United States.
More news from the Trump administration yesterday. It is now revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll international students, the latest escalation in its battle against that Ivy League school. The Department of Justice announced in a letter yesterday that it is pulling the school's exchange visitor program certification, saying Harvard's created an unsafe campus environment that is, quote, hostile to Jewish students, promotes pro-Hamas sympathies, and employs racist diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. The DOJ also accused the university of coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Harvard called the action unlawful and says it's working to provide guidance and support to students and the community. The university has nearly 7,000 international students, which make up about 27% of the entire student body. Meanwhile, just a few moments ago, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, a big elite school there, shared an open invitation to international undergraduate and postgraduate students currently enrolled at Harvard, inviting them to continue their academic career at their school over in Hong Kong. The university says it will prioritize expedited admissions, credit transfers, and tailored support, including visa assistance and housing to ensure a smooth transition. And Gene Robinson, there are a number of beats we need to cover on this. First of all, this is unprecedented that the federal government would step in a private university like this and tell them who they cannot admit. But so speak on that, please. But also, you know, this is going to be furtherance of a brain drain we are seeing here in the United States. We've already seen these research grants be cut, earlier in the administration. And now international students, if they can't practice their craft here, if they can't learn here and then potentially go on to careers here, other universities around the world, other countries will be happy to have them and will be poorer for it.
Yeah, just in order, Jonathan. First of all, Harvard says this is unlawful. It seems to me to be yet another, bill of attainder, which is prohibited by the Constitution. You can't go after an individual like that with an official action, and so I'm sure they'll go to court. And we should keep in mind that Harvard has a $53 billion endowment. It has the money to fight this fight and to hold out potentially, I guess, for the 4 years of the Trump administration if it has to. But anybody who's not worried about the brain drain really ought to be, because there's not only this. We're not only driving away these brilliant students who, yes, contribute a lot to Harvard's bottom line, but they have to be the smartest of the smart from around the world to get in. And they come here and they make huge investments of their brain power in new technologies, in new medicine, in all the stuff in which the United States is a leader. Our system of higher education is or has been the envy of the world, and that is being simply ruined. If you're a brilliant student in India or in Belgium or anywhere, and you were thinking about, boy, they have just the program I want at Harvard. What are you going to do now? You can't come to Harvard right now, and you're going to look elsewhere. This on top of the cuts in research funds that are driving scientists, not just foreign-born scientists, but U.S. scientists abroad, where they are being welcomed by other great universities around the world. This is a serious brain drain, and it really will have serious implications in the years to come.
It's the warning that we were hearing consistently after all of those DOGE cuts at NIH and CDC and other places. And it makes sense, of course, in the way that it trickles to educational institutions.
Well, exactly. And there are schools just saying, OK, we'll fund your lab. If the school in Europe is basically saying, come on over here. You can have your lab. You can have money. That's what they're going to do.
That's what they're going to do. But, Matt, it strikes me, and I think we all know this, Trump always needs a foil. It strikes me that he might be trying to make Harvard one of them, given the fact that he doesn't have an obvious Democratic rival right now. Is that what this feels like to you? What's behind this assault on higher education from the administration? And if we're applying litmus tests of is this conservative, is this not, in the way that we were talking about the reconciliation bill, what do you make of this piece, the way that the administration is going after Ivy League schools like Harvard?
Right. Well, I would say long before Trump, there was a sense amongst conservatives that the commanding heights of culture were dominated by liberals, progressives, and by the left, and that culture is more important than politics. And therefore, if the left is driving academia, if the left is driving Hollywood, the movies we watch, the music we listen to, the things our children, young people are taught, then eventually this long march, they win, right? Because that's how you take over. You take over the culture first, and then eventually you have the elites, everybody else falls into play. That's sort of what mainstream conservatives have long feared. I think with Donald Trump, there's an added aspect to it, which is he likes to pick his enemies. And what he wants to do is pick people that are unpopular in the populist sense. And so going after immigrants or easy marks for Donald Trump, going after the pointy heads, academia on college campuses. There's not a lot of defenders for these people. If you go to the average person at a diner, they're not too worried about some foreign student at Harvard, right? I mean, it's almost like a tailor-made to demagogue them and to villainize them. But of course, as everyone has pointed out, one of America's big secret weapons actually is the fact that we are a magnet for brilliant people to come here and to give us ideas, discoveries, inventions. And what we are seeing is that is coming to an end. And I think that it's not going to happen overnight, but there will be very serious long-term implications when it does happen.
No question there. And
hi guys, what's up my good people? It's your girl Beryl. Thank you for coming back to view this YouTube channel. For the new subscribers, I welcome you all with much love. For all of you who are here for great content, thank you. So you've seen what's happening, right? Like, it's just chaotic. Whatever is happening in the United States between DT and Harvard is crazy. Like, who'd even want that to happen? Okay? Who'd even want that to happen? Do you know what's happening? You've watched the video. What's your take? Please do not forget to subscribe, comment. Okay? Do not forget to comment, subscribe, share. Okay? Yeah, and remember, education is the key to success. Education is the key to success. So, what if one day, just like today, or just like 2 days ago, a decision made by your local government, government to stop what could actually make somebody's dream not come true. A decision made by a government that could shatter the dreams of several thousands of students from around the world. What if that decision came from the most powerful office in the world? It's targeting one of the most prestigious universities in history. And this is not fiction, it's not propaganda. This is the Trump administration versus Harvard University. So, this year in 2025, the Trump administration took a shocking step. It revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll international students. Yes, you had me right. You had that right, guys. Harvard came to the global leaders, Nobel Prize winners, and world-changing minds. Suddenly, they're being barred from bringing in students from outside the United States of America. The reason, officially, they claimed that Harvard has failed to actually comply with federal guidelines on campus safety and anti-discrimination policies. Yeah, but actually critics and Harvard itself say it was political retaliation. It was like a power move. Okay? That's what they are saying. A warning to universities that refuse to toe the government line. Yeah, so you've seen the battle. You see what's going on between what and what? Harvard and the one and only DT president that we have. Right? And I mean, who would even do that? Now, thousands of students from Africa, Asia, Europe, every corner of the globe, they're actually in limbo. Imagine investing years of your life, being accepted into Harvard, only to be told you're not welcomed anymore. Hey, my ancestors would turn in their graves. Yeah. Okay, for students, different students from, for example, there are some from India. Her name was Shreya. The dream was suddenly a nightmare. Her MBA was nearly complete, and then this happened. She was almost finishing. Finish line. And now, all of a sudden, somebody comes up with a certain rule just because they can. Harvard didn't take it lightly. Harvard is the Ramaphosa we are talking about. Harvard is the Burkina Faso president we are talking about. Samori Toure, who doesn't listen but follows the right thing. Harvard didn't take it lightly. They're now suing Trump administration, claiming this move has violated the Constitution. Yes, you heard me right. It's a battle. I told you so. So a federal judge stepped in and blocked the decision for now, but the fear, it's still there. The message is loud and clear. International students are no longer safe from political games. Yeah, that's actually what's happening, guys. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. America has always been a magnet for global talent, right? But this decision actually puts everything at risk. $50 billion in economic contribution, the millions of jobs, and the innovation driven by brilliant minds from all over the world. And how many Elon Musks might be turned away next? Hey, goodness. On my personal take on this is they should be sued, and such decisions should never be allowed to be passed in any country in the world. Yeah, so every university should not be scared. They might come for you next. Why would you chase somebody away? Doesn't make sense. And they're here for knowledge. Guys, this is bigger than politics. It's about the future of education. Okay? It's about fairness. It's about what kind of country the United States wants to be. So, should one administration have the power to shut down dreams just like this? Or is it time the world rethinks who gets to be the gatekeeper of knowledge? Hey, my goodness. Oh. So guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. Was Harvard targeted unfairly? Was it? And should education be free from politics? Share this video because this fight might affect your future or someone you love. And please do not forget to subscribe for more poll stories. Thank you. Yeah. And please give me your comment on this because I know how international students are so vulnerable and what they're actually feeling right now in a foreign country, and how these students invest money, effort, and years of planning only to risk being shut out by political parties beyond their control. It's just not, it's crazy. It's crazy, guys. So please comment down below and tell me what you think about this. Was Harvard targeted unfairly? Thank you so much, and please subscribe, share. Bye bye.